Well, welcome. We are live for another 20-minute transformation. This is where we get together for 20 minutes only, one big shift that makes a big impact. If you haven't been here before, my name is Grant Herbert and I'm the founder and the global managing partner of the Professional Services Leadership Academy. And I love to put these free trainings on for you so that you can, in just a short period of time, pick up some strategies that's going to help you to get more influence, to make more income in your practice and make a bigger impact. All right, so the transformation that we are working on today, and by the way, if you haven't got your workbook yet, you can just grab the link below, or if you're still watching and you don't want to miss it, just take some notes on paper. But I just want to give you something that you can take away from here as well. So this transformation is going from being in chaos all the time to being in control. And just like every transformation that we do, it's going away from something that we don't want towards something that we do. And this one is very much a mindset shift first, because we're going to bust the time management myth so that you can reduce overwhelm and get more done. If you've been around me for 5 minutes, you know that I like to disrupt our thinking on things, and I like to dispel the myths and untruths around things that we're still being taught that don't fit the world that we're in right now. You know, this different world of AI and disruption and distraction that we're in needs different types of strategies and different teachings of those strategies so that we can thrive and get out of it what we want to get out of it. All right, so as with everything that we do, it comes from the 9 crucial shifts. And this week, or in this session, we're in the area of productivity. Now, the shift that we make in productivity is going from focusing on time to focusing on outcomes. I don't know about you, but I never seem to have enough time. But I know it's something that I'm not able to control as well, right? So shifting focus from I need more time and using time as the measure of everything to looking at, well, what am I getting out of this? What are the outcomes? What's the end result? Time is all about being busy, but busy isn't going to get the results that we want. All right. So let's talk about some of these things. Let's talk about this shift. Going from time, I don't know if you ever felt like that guy in the photo there where you just feel like you're drowning and there's not enough time to get everything done, and the to-do list and the piles of stuff you need to do actually keeps growing and it never gets smaller. And the first thing, as I've already talked about, that we want to do is we want to dispel the time management concept. It's a myth. Because here's the thing, you and I cannot manage time. We don't have the ability to do that. If we turn the clock back, it's not really back, right? There's 24 hours in a day. I heard somewhere that there's apparently 28 hours a day on Mars, but I reckon that if you and I lived on Mars, we would still misuse that extra 4 hours. So time management is not what it's about. The other thing is, in terms of this, we tend to have a negative bias when we talk about time. You know, everybody, I don't have enough time. So we go into it thinking, I don't have enough time anyway. I don't have enough time, my day, to do all this. And that mindset alone creates a negative impact on your brain, your body, and your balance and everything that you're doing. And it actually stops you from being as productive as you could be. And as I said, it uses time as more than a metric, because that's what time really is, right? It's a measure. If you are billing time, for example, and that's not what we're talking about here, but just to give you that as an example, It's a metric. It's not a driver. So if your whole existence is at work is being driven by whether or not you achieve your billable hours targets, then you're not going to achieve them. The billable hours are there as a metric to be able to bill, to invoice, to get paid for the work that you do. So that's the first thing that we want to do, is look at time in a different way. And we need to firstly be able to manage what you can control. I said you're not able to manage time. I'm sure you'll agree. And as we go through this, I'm going to show you exactly what you can manage. The second thing I want you to do is look at time as something that you can use as a strategy. And one of those is to block time. And we're going to talk about that as we go through as well. The third thing is looking at your priorities, making sure that they're in the right place as well, because otherwise you will invest the time that you don't have in things that aren't going to get you what you want. And they're called making sure that you do the highest payoff activities. I don't know about you, but I know for me, I can get caught up in admin and little things that keep me busy, but they're not actually the things that get the results. Doesn't mean I don't do them. It just means if I'm allocating too much of my day into doing that rather than my high payoff activities, then I'm going to be less productive than what I could be. All right, so I put together what I call a productivity game plan. And I will give you an understanding of this. Models are great because if you've got a model, it allows you to visually see what is happening. And I said there's three things that we can manage. The first thing are expectations. Expectations of others, also expectations that you have of yourself, and particularly the ones that you have of yourself. So if we remember the identity work that we've been doing, if you are still wrapped in the performance trap, the approval addiction, imposter syndrome, whatever it is for you, and therefore you think you need to get more done so that people value you and whatever it is, then they're unhealthy expectations, and you normally will put higher expectations on yourself than you really need to. I remember in my military career, I used to, because I had major issues with my identity back then and didn't think I was good enough. So what I did is I made sure that I worked hard enough that meant that I could be the best, that I could top every course that I went on, that I was working harder and longer than everyone else. So those expectations that I put on myself were damaging to my health, and as part of that, the productivity along the way. But then, as I said, there's also the expectations of others. That's the first thing we need to be concerned about. The second area is not my spelling, but I need to probably work on that as well, is environment. So making sure that the environment that you are working in is conducive to getting stuff done. There's so many things out there over the years that have been taught. And once again, this is what we need to leave behind along with time management is, look, a great leader has an open door policy. No, they don't. What a great leader does is make sure that they have an environment that's conducive for everyone getting what they need to get done so they can go home and they can enjoy being who they need to be in every area of their life. So some of those things that we were told and that we've been using, they're creating more problems than they are worth. The distractions in your environment, the mess that you might have on your day, there's so many things that we need to be able to manage in our environment. And then the third one, in my experience, is that this is the most important, and that is managing your energy. And managing in the context of where I'm prepared to give it away, whether that's mental, energy or physical energy, being a protector of that energy and making sure that we're doing things in a way that preserves that energy. Most of us plug our phone in at least once a day to charge it back up, yet most of us forget to do that to ourselves, right? So just like a phone without charge is no value, a human without charge as well is not able to do what they need to do. All right, so if we look at these three areas, when your expectations are healthy, both internal and external, and your environment is managed well, then you are going to get efficiency. Now, efficiency is not enough, but it's a start, right? You're going to be able to get things done and get more of it done. However, when your environment is where it needs to be and your energy is built up and being conserved, then you can get into a state of flow. You've probably heard of flow state before. What it means, let me just put it in my layman's terms. If I have everything where I need it to be, if I remove distractions and noise, and I've got the energy that I need at the time that I need it to be able to do the things I need to do, then things are going to just flow nicely. If I don't, obviously, it's the reverse of that. And when the expectations are in a healthy place and the energy is where it needs to be and it's healthy as well, this is the point of leverage. And leverage means getting more done through the efforts. So if you go back to your science days at school and you looked at using a lever and a fulcrum and all those sort of things, you could lift more with that rather than just trying to lift it with your own weight. So leverage is where we want to get to. And putting these together to get greater outcomes. All right, so for us to be able to do this, we need to shift some thinking. We need to shift some behaviors. And we're going to go through shortly how we can do that. And I'm going to get you to think about where you could shift in both your mindsets and behaviors. So before we do that, I want to talk about some key strategies, some key ideas, some key ways of thinking that we need to adopt. All right. When I'm working with people one-on-one or smaller groups, this area of productivity, it seems to be the biggest one I get pushback on. And when people go, oh, that won't work for me, Grant. And I don't know why they think that. And I normally say to people, hey, just do it to prove me wrong. And then they come back to me and go, you know what, it works. But these strategies, thinking through these lenses is going to help you to be able to get back in control. All right. So the first one is that you need to clarify your priorities. For you to be able to understand what your high payoff activities are or be able to get them done, you need to know what they are. You need to put them in the right priority. You need to have your priorities that are out in front as well, rather than just on the expectations of everybody else. So priorities are really important. The second thing is to choose a destination. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is instead of just going day by day, hour by hour, whatever it is, week by week, month by month, my gosh, the year's gone again, is to go, okay, where do I want to end up today? So before I switch this off and go home and be who I need to be there rather than take all that with me, where do I want to arrive? And in fact, not just in the day, in those blocks of time. And we don't have time to go through them all today, but when I'm working in this area, there's strategies and different ways of doing things to help you to do that. But just today, I want you to think about, well, where am I going? It's not just doing. It's got to be a journey that you're actually going on. And on that journey, you need to contextualize the journey. Now, an example of that is to make sure that when you're chunking things that you need to get done, that you're doing it in a way that where you can get things that are of a similar context, you do them all together. An example. So if you are needing to make some phone calls to some clients to do some follow-ups or whatever it is, then do them in the one chunk. And then if you need to do some work on a report or something like that, you do all that sort of work in a chunk. And the reason you do that is you then are thinking through that lens. So you're not going from one to the other, because we wear many hats, although we are just one person. And it's being able to contextualize and go, well, who am I needing to be in this next chunk of time? You also need to, and I've talked about this already, chunk your commitment. So when you're committing to doing things, you've got to chunk them. And there's practical ways. I see people all the time, and they tell me, show me their calendar, and all they've got in there is if there's an appointment or a meeting. And the challenge with that is, A, you look at it and you don't think you've got much on. B, other people look at it if they're putting appointments in for you and they think, oh, I can just make appointments at any time because they've got heaps of time. However, the most important thing is that you don't tell yourself, when am I going to get the work done? So, for example, you might have a meeting with a potential client, you get the work. The first thing that you need to do is put in your calendar when you're going to do that work, rather than just put it in a list. And I'm going very shallow and on these today. There's a lot of strategies and things you can do on that as well. And the last one, and I believe the most important, is you have to communicate your boundaries. People need to know what your boundaries are in terms of your productivity, in terms of your availability. And you need to know them first. So when you clarify your priorities, when you know where you're going, you know who you need to be to get there, when you make sure that you organize things so that you've got the right space set aside to do the things you need to do, when you have clear boundaries that say, this is when I'm available and this is when I'm not, then you're going to get things done in a lot more efficient and effective way. And you're going to have more energy at the end of the day so that you can be who you need to be in every area of your life. So we've got a minute to go, and I want to just introduce you to the worksheets here that I've given you. So this isn't just you listening to me. This is you doing some work outside this as well. You going, okay, this is great. I can understand what he's saying. However, without doing anything differently, you're not going to have a change to your results. So as I said, what we need to do here is firstly, in each of these, have mindset shifts. You've got to shift some thinking and what it is that you need to put out as being important before you change the second thing, which is behavior. All right. So in managing your expectations, what are the things that you need to change? You know, could it be, like I said before, I need to be the best at everything, or I need to be perfect. I need to, whatever it is. That's a mindset shift. The mindset shift around how you let people work with you, those sort of things. And then out of that, whatever you come up with here, you need to then look at, well, how do I make that work? What's the implementation side of that? The insight's great, but the implementation will get you the change of results. All right, then we go to managing your environment. Same thing. What do you need to do? You probably don't think this one, but you may have heard of it. People have been known to say that an untidy desk is a sign of genius. No, it's not. It's just an untidy desk. And if you have to spend an hour looking for your keys before you drive somewhere, then that's not productive. So see mindset shifts around there. Another one is around, as I said before, open door policies. I'll give you this one. Looking at the time, I've got to be quick. But for me, if you are in a position where other people are looking to you for support, people don't want you or need you to be available all the time. They just need to know when you're available, because that gives them the certainty that they need to go, hey, if I've got a question I need answered, then this is when I'm going to get it answered. If someone takes your phone calls and you're constantly getting messages and getting interrupted, perhaps do something different and think about saying, hey, Grant is answering all his phone messages between 11:30 and 12 today. Is that okay for you, or can someone else help you? So there's some shifting of your thinking and then your behavior around your environment. And the last one is around your energy. What do you need to shift in your mindset? Is it around the way that you look after yourself? Is it around what you see as being a fair and reasonable day in terms of the effort that you put in? So there's some shifts in the mindset, and there's therefore some shifts in the behavior. Do you throw food down your face at your desk, if you even bother at all, at lunchtime? Or do you get outside, get some vitamin D and some air and change the environment? So there's a number of things that you can do. So shifting from chaos to control will allow you to have the energy that you need. It'll help you to avoid burnout. It'll get you more results faster than operating out of ineffective time management like you could be doing right now. So just like we do with every other 20-minute transformation, I want you to capture, what are your insights? What really was the one or two things that stuck out for you? We're not looking to do a to-do list of extra things. Then how are you going to implement that? What's the first step that you're going to take to implement this? And most importantly, when you have more energy, you're getting more done, you're more productive, what impact is that going to have on you, on your practice, on the people around you? And that's the thing that will drive you to getting more done. Hey, thanks for spending 20 minutes with me again. I hope you got something out of this. Let me know wherever you are watching this, what you got out of it, if you got any questions. If you haven't joined the community yet and you're watching this on another replay, get involved. Jump in the community. It's totally free, and it's just my way of being able to help those people who I'm not able to work with all the time because there's just me. Have an amazing day and enjoy shifting from time to outcomes. I'll see you again soon.